Imagine a world where the brutal blows of the ring echo the crushing weight of real life. A world where every punch thrown isn't for glory, but for survival, for family, for a desperate shot at redemption. This is the gut-wrenching tale of a forgotten champion, forced back into the fight he swore to leave behind. Welcome back, cinematic explorers, to Film Facts and Flicks. Today, we're diving deep into The Beast Within, a raw and powerful sports drama that explores the brutal cost of legacy, family, and second chances. Get ready for a detailed breakdown, scene by scene, of every punch, every betrayal, and every hidden detail you might have missed. Our story opens with Patton James, a former MMA fighter, now struggling as a fisherman. He and his crew, including the jovial Neil, are constantly underperforming, barely making ends meet. The demanding skipper constantly belittles Patton, calling him a Jonah or bad luck. Patton's meager earnings are a stark reminder of his family's desperate financial situation. After a confrontation, Patton ensures fair pay for Neil, showcasing his inherent sense of justice. Returning home, Patton is greeted by his loving daughter Maddie and his pregnant wife, Luciana. Luciana reveals that Maddie requires a specialist for a health issue, adding immense pressure to their already tight finances. A humorous moment where Maddie repeats a curse word, which Luciana jokingly blames on Patton. Patton expresses his deep financial worries, explaining their overdue bills and lack of success fishing. Despite the grim reality, Patton reassures Luciana they will overcome their challenges. Luciana then shares wonderful news: she's pregnant again, bringing a moment of joy amidst their struggles. Back on the boat, the crew continues to struggle, unable to catch any fish. Neil jokingly suggests growing weed like his cousin, only to reveal his cousin is in jail for it, earning Patton's laughter. Patton confides in Neil about Luciana's pregnancy, bringing a moment of shared happiness. The skipper, overhearing, callously fires Patton, insulting his family and triggering Patton's protective instincts. Patton confronts the skipper, who threatens him with a lighter, highlighting Patton's suppressed aggression. Later, Luciana and Patton discuss his brother's upcoming fight, with Patton showing reluctance to watch. Commentators hype the fight between Xavier Grau, a top fighter, and Malin James, Patton's undefeated younger brother. During the fight, Xavier brutally knocks out Malin, delivering an illegal hit after the referee signals to stop. The commentators are shocked by Xavier's unsportsmanlike conduct, which leaves Malin in a coma with a brain clot. Patton rushes to the hospital, where he reunites with his sister Nadine and meets his niece, Maddie. Nadine tearfully explains Malin's critical condition, a heavy blow to Patton. Gabriel Stone, Xavier Grau's manager, approaches Patton, recognizing him as a legendary former fighter. Stone praises Patton's past fighting prowess, subtly contrasting it with Malin's. Stone offers Patton a substantial sum to come out of retirement and fight Xavier, exploiting his financial desperation. Patton, initially resistant, hears Stone's manipulative pitch, using Malin's injury and the existing rivalry. Stone reveals Xavier wants to erase the memory of Patton's 6-second knockout of him years ago. The offer escalates, and Stone reveals Malin has significant debts that need attention, pressuring Patton further. By Malin's bedside, Patton learns the full extent of his brother's $50,000 debt to the dangerous Barry Dunn. Patton confides in Luciana about the manager's offer, torn by the need for money and his promise not to fight. Luciana questions Patton about Xavier, realizing the gravity of the potential rematch. Luciana sees through Patton's denial, recognizing his internal struggle with the tempting offer. She reminds him of the danger, making him confront the potential consequences of returning to the brutal sport. Xavier Grau, on a podcast, dismisses the controversy around his illegal hit, calling Malin "little bitch." He boasts about wanting to fight Patton and vows to finish him even faster than Patton did to him. Patton, driven by desperation, meets Stone and demands $150,000, half up front, accepting the fight. Stone warns Patton that the sport has evolved, implying Patton might be out of his depth after so long. Despite Patton asking for 6 months, Stone gives him a mere 7 weeks to prepare for the championship bout. Patton visits his old gym, finding his cousin Rose, who used to be a fighter herself, now teaching kids. Rose shares her own story of a career-ending injury, making Patton aware of the risks involved. Rose warns Patton that his estranged father, Sammy, won't welcome him, due to past unresolved issues. Rose enthusiastically offers to train Patton, despite his father's initial, harsh rejection, "Fuck off." Patton visits Barry Dunn to repay Malon's debt, facing down Dunn's intimidating enforcers. Barry Dunn, surprisingly, shows respect for Patton's old-school honor, accepting the payment and offering future help. Neil, now unemployed, shows up at Patton's house early in the morning, asking for work. Patton, recognizing Neil's loyalty and his own need for a training partner, recruits him, despite Neil's lack of fighting experience. Rose incredulously questions Patton's choice of Neil, a non-fighter, as a sparring partner. Patton explains his strategy, intending to use Neil's size for grappling practice, welcoming Neil to the team. Patton's training is intense, but his rustiness is evident, struggling against even Neil. Sandy appears, criticizing Patton's performance, adding to the tension between them. Patton confronts Sammy, who scoffs at his return to fighting and his chances against Xavier. Rose stands up to her father, asserting her role as gym owner and Patton's trainer. Patton explains his motivation to Sammy, purely financial, to pay off debts and secure his family's future. Sammy continues to provoke Patton during training, testing his limits and resolve. Malon, recovering from his coma, confronts Patton at the gym, furious that Patton took his to fight. Patton tries to explain his actions were to help Malon with his debts, but Malon resents his perceived interference. Malon reveals his deep-seated resentment, feeling abandoned by Patton's past choices. Malon cruelly brings up Patton's time in prison, escalating the argument into a physical altercation. Sammy intervenes, telling Malon to heal before fighting again, but Malon's pride prevents him from listening. Luciana confronts Patton after seeing his bruised face, realizing he lied about taking the fight. Patton explains his motivation, protecting and providing for his family, justifying his broken promise. Luciana is devastated by his betrayal, but Patton desperately tries to reassure her. During training, Sammy continues his harsh critiques of Patton, stating he can't coach hard. Patton approaches Sammy, attempting to mend their fractured relationship, apologizing for his past. Sammy reveals the depth of his pain. He mortgaged their home for Patton's career, only for Patton to go to prison and disappear. Sammy expresses his profound disappointment that Patton never contacted him after his release. Patton explains his time in prison, the constant fighting, and how it extinguished his desire to fight. He tells Sammy about Luciana, who loved him regardless of his past, and his new life as a father. Patton reiterates his sole reason for the fight is money, to buy his family some time. Sammy gives Patton profound advice, emphasizing the importance of living in the moment and creating memories. Sammy accuses Patton of exploiting Rose's loyalty, urging him to leave if he's truly a changed man. Meanwhile, Xavier Grau is suspended and stripped of his title for the illegal hit on Malon. Nadine reveals Malon is fighting Xavier tonight in an unsanctioned fight despite his doctor's orders to wait. Patton, horrified, races to the fight venue, determined to stop his injured brother. Neil helps Patton fight his way past the bouncers, proving his loyalty and surprising Patton with his ability. Xavier, confident and cruel, tells Malon to make the fight a show for the crowd. Malon, clearly outmatched and still recovering, is brutally beaten by Xavier, who mocks him. Patton watches in agony as Xavier delivers the final, fatal blows to Malon, who dies in the ring. After Malon's tragic death, representatives from One Championship express condolences, recognizing his legacy. Xavier, on TV, brazenly blames Patton for Malon's death, calling him pussy-ass brother, and claiming Patton should have fought. Devastated, Patton suffers a panic attack, feeling responsible for Malon's death. Luciana, seeing his despair, courageously tells Patton to fight Xavier, accepting that it's his only path to peace. She gives him her blessing, telling him to return to them when the fight is done, a true act of love. Sammy reflects on Rose's path, mirroring his own, and acknowledges her strength as a trainer. He admits Rose is an excellent trainer, and gives Patton rigorous training instructions. Patton, now fully committed, embraces Sammy's tough training, asking, "Why do I need to breathe?" Sammy's profound answer, "So you can think, and so you can win," becomes Patton's mantra. Patton expresses his love to Sammy, who gruffly dismisses it, but the bond is clearly healing. Patton's training montage shows him transforming, regaining his formidable power and mental edge. Rose comments on Patton's intense focus, affirming his readiness for the fight. Commentators build anticipation for the final match, Patton James vs Xavier Grau for the 1 middleweight MMA championship. The narrative frames it as a fight for redemption for Patton and revenge for Mallon's death. Patton makes his entrance to a roaring crowd, stepping back into the ring for the ultimate showdown. Xavier Grau, the warrior, makes his arrogant entrance, intensifying the rivalry. The refusal to touch gloves signals the deep personal animosity between the two fighters. Round 1 begins with a brutal exchange of blows, both fighters unleashing their fury. Xavier lands a spectacular spinning kick, but Patton eventually takes him down, ending the round on top. During the break, Rose encourages Patton, while he reflects on Xavier's resilience. Patton uses Sammy's breathing techniques to regain his composure. Round 2 sees Xavier taking control, locking Patton in a chokehold. Patton is on the verge of tapping out, remembering Mallon's final words and Sammy's advice. He endures the choke, showing incredible mental fortitude, refusing to give up even when seemingly unconscious. The referee stops the fight as Xavier believes Patton is out, but Patton miraculously recovers. Round 3 begins with Xavier dominating, relentlessly attacking Patton. Xavier resorts to dirty tactics, illegally poking Patton in the eye, temporarily blinding him. Despite the severe injury, Patton's fighting spirit ignites, declaring, "Let's finish this." He recalls Neil's words, realizing that sometimes fighting is necessary. Patton, fighting with one eye, lands a powerful blow, injuring Xavier's hand. Patton unleashes a flurry of punches, culminating in a devastating left hook that knocks Xavier down. The crowd erupts as Patton achieves a technical knockout, completing his incredible comeback. Patton, now the undisputed champion and $3 million richer, yells a heartfelt message to his family. He has avenged his brother, found peace, and secured his family's future, ending his journey of redemption. What an incredible journey for Patton James, from the depths of despair to the pinnacle of triumph. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into The Beast Within. If you found this recap engaging, please smash that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more amazing movie explanations. Let us know in the comments below what you thought of Patton's comeback and what other films you'd like us to cover next. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.